And well, we have been watching reactions coming in from both sides, but what really are the positives and negatives if these stray dogs are moved to shelters? Now, what will happen is that if they are moved to a shelter, it will certainly reduce the risk of dog bites and attacks that they're very susceptible to when living on the streets. Living in a shelter, a dog shelter will also ensure that they are vaccinated on time and are given all the medical care that they often do not get because there is nobody to really take care of them. These shelters will obviously provide them food, the fact that they are safe, the fact that they are protected no matter what the environment, what the climate changes are, they are being looked after. The shelter for dogs that will also help maintain public hygiene, which is problematic not only for the dogs themselves, but also if they are in those public spaces and if they are not in the best of health, that obviously passes on. A shelter will also increase chances of adoption and rehabilitation because it will encourage that sentiment and people will understand that these are dogs that are taken care of and they can be adopted. But animal activists who think otherwise and dog lovers who really feel that these dogs should not be caged because the condition of shelters, that is not the best, especially when it comes to India. They lack space, they lack resources. Often dogs and stray dogs especially, are moved to these shelters, but it is unethical. Also, rehabilitation does not address the overpopulation issue that is very strong, given the fact that there aren't very many shelters for dogs in India and they are not in the best condition. Confinement can also stress these free-living dogs, which may not be the best for them and they may react in an adverse manner if that happens. And of course, locals may resist removal of known strays, which is something that the cops already face as trouble has been mounting. We've been watching protests that are taking place where a section of the society is against the idea of moving these stray dogs to dog shelters. Let me cut across to my colleague Nalini, who's joining us from Delhi to take us through the details, Nalini, of the Supreme Court's order, of the very many reactions it has evoked, a divided society that we are witnessing at this point, protests that are taking place, and the biggest argument, is India equipped to be able to enact on the Supreme Court's order within 90 days?
Well, Suesha, it's interesting what has happened over the course of the past 24 hours ever since this direction has come in from the Supreme Court. Most interesting aspect is that even 24 hours later, we are still waiting for the written copy of the order to come out. Because, of course, a lot of things are said by the Supreme Court several times as oral observations during a course of multitude of hearings. But what eventually matters is what is it that they put in writing, what will be the directions that will be passed in the written order to the municipal corporation in Delhi to tackle this entire issue is the main thing that we are watching out for. And even though it's been almost one entire day since the entire hearing has happened, we've still not seen this written order from the Supreme Court being uploaded. Now, Suesha, although this is not unheard of that the Supreme Court takes some time to publish the order officially, but this usually happens when there are lengthy judgments or whether there is some aspect that requires clarity, because of which the Supreme Court holds back on publishing the order until and unless that clarity is given. But in this case, considering it's a short order that we are expecting, it's a little unusual that it's still not come out and we are still awaiting for that. In addition to that, there were some very important things that the Supreme Court had said yesterday, most important of which is that if there are any obstructions caused by any individual or group in allowing the municipal authorities to carry out the Supreme Court directions, then that will be treated as contempt of court and action will be initiated against such individuals or organizations, which is going to be an extremely interesting aspect to watch out for as to whether or not what action will be initiated against them who are coming out in opposition to this order or this direction that is given by the Supreme Court. Another important aspect that we have, Suesha, is that already the Rajasthan High Court, after yesterday, has issued a similar order. asking for all the stray dogs in the cities of Jaipur, Jodhpur, and Udaipur to be removed by the municipal corporations. So once the written order of the Supreme Court is out, whether other high courts of other states are going to follow the same and issue similar orders after the Rajasthan High Court is another important aspect that we have to watch out for, because remember, stories of dog bites are not just limited to Delhi, they're not just limited to Rajasthan, they are a wide, India-wide phenomenon that we have been seeing increasing steadily over the course of the past several years, which is what compelled the Supreme Court in passing such drastic orders. But as to whether or not they will be able to implement it on the ground, whether any
Right.
action will be able to be taken against these individuals, is something we will know only once we have the written copy of the order in our hands. Suyesh.
All right, Nalini, many thanks for getting us those details. But of course, the diverse reactions that this decision of the Supreme Court has evoked